All right, let's talk LSU Tigers football. Of course, now that spring ball is behind us, all eyes are starting to focus more and more on the regular season. But here's the thing, there's another transfer portal window that's been going on, folks, and moves and deals have been made. And the LSU Tigers may have pulled off the most impressive move this entire transfer portal window. They got a great player that not a lot of people are talking about. We'll cover that in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick, then is Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this LSU Tigers team, it's talented, obviously, good coaching staff, sliding under the radar, coming into a pivotal season for Coach Kelly. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on LSU a little bit, but this is a talented team. They seem prepared to take a massive leap, and they're going to get there, I think, with some more talent. And they went out and got a great player, a veteran player, through the transfer portal. Let's pull up this report, and then we'll go into more detail on the other side. This is courtesy of On3 Sports. LSU football has won another transfer portal battle, this time really in a commitment from Houston transfer safety A.J. Halsey. LSU went head-to-head with Miami, a great recruiting team. Kind of most people forget about that, but Miami the past 5 years under Mario Cristobal, whether it's transfers or high school kids, they've been crushing it in terms of recruiting. But anyway, LSU went head-to-head with Miami for the highest-ranked prospect remaining in the spring transfer portal and came out on top. After a trip to Miami earlier last week, Halsey arrived in Baton Rouge for his visit to LSU and later confirmed his commitment to the Tigers. Obviously, that means the LSU coaching staff, they had the better sales pitch. Miami's got a great one, undeniably so. Phenomenal job the Hurricanes at recruiting. This kid goes to Baton Rouge, and after working with whatever they showed him, it's like, hey, I want to stay here. And, folks, he is a great football player. LSU obviously needs defensive playmakers, and they got one here in Halsey. All right, Mize, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, LSU fans in the comment section below. Look, the season, it feels like it's getting closer and closer. It's a few months away, of course. But, boy, just starting to feel like maybe it could get close. And to that end, let me ask you this question. What's one game, one matchup you're looking forward to more than any other of the 2025 season? Is it a game maybe you're attending in person, or maybe it's one of these rivalry games, or maybe it's just a game that means something special to you for whatever reason? Give us one matchup for the LSU Tigers in the upcoming 2025 season that you're more excited about more than any other one. Let us know. Give us that matchup in the comment section below. But Mize, over to you now. What are your thoughts on this latest move for LSU?
Yeah, Nick, I think this was a big get for LSU. Obviously, everyone knows number one ranked transfer portal class in the country for the Tigers. That's really great. But the heavy lifting was done in the winter transfer portal period. They had 16 players that they got out of the portal in that winter transfer portal period. And now in this, let's call it spring transfer portal period, only 2 players. And obviously Halsey being one of Bernard Gooden, the really talented. He was actually one of the higher rated defensive linemen in the portal. They got him just last week, but now capping it off, the coup d'etat, getting the best player left in the transfer portal in safety, A.J. Halsey. I think that's a really strong approach for LSU, for this Brian Kelly-led team, just showing they know what they're doing. This is a team, we talked about it a lot at the beginning of this offseason, with Nussmeier coming back, with a lot of the weapons they have on this team. This was an LSU team that really just need to hit the portal hard, bring in a lot of veterans, because that could be their win now approach. They really need to surround Nussmeier with weapons, get a strong defense, really just hit it hard, because this team was not very far off from being college football playoff contenders. I think they were a little bit under the radar. I don't think people are getting them quite as much credit as they need to, but these latest moves, I think this whole capping off this whole transfer portal, what they're able to do is going to be something special. It's going to allow them to continue going forward. And Halsey, really great prospect, really great, things that he brings to the table here for the Tigers. I think he's going to slot in just fine, being a really good contributor in that aspect. But just overall, I want to hit this home. I think LSU, they really hit the first part of the transfer portal hard. Like I said, getting 16 guys out of the 18 guys they got so far in the beginning, the winter part of the transfer portal. In spring, they were selective. They knew guys that they wanted, and you really, like you said, Miami, one of the better recruiting teams in all of college football. I say Miami and Oregon very close together with each other as far as being great recruiters. They go toe-to-toe with these guys, with the top-ranked guys left in the portal, really poured all of their, will and thought power into it, was able to get Bernard Gooden, a really high-rated player, and now getting Halsey as well. making it even better. I think this was a phenomenal transfer season for LSU. I think it's going to show when it makes them college football playoff contenders because of the hard work they've put in the transfer portal.
Well, it's also a great fit. I mean, LSU's defense, like it needed to take a big step in 2024 compared to 2023, and it got incrementally better. It wasn't quite as a debacle, but it still had a couple of really egregious flaws. And look no further than their takeaways forced, interceptions forced. In the entire college football landscape, D1A college football, the LSU Tigers finished 111th, not 11th, guys, not 11th. That would be okay. We'd expect maybe top 10 from the LSU historically defense. They finished 111th in interceptions forced, right? That ain't going to get it done. How about total takeaways? 107th, right? Again, not seventh. We expect something like that from LSU, top 10, 107th. You can't win like that, folks. You just can't, right? You can have a lot of talent. You can have a lot of good coaches. You can have, a lot of NFL guys, which LSU did last year and will have going forward for years to come. You can do well in recruiting. You can have good transfer portal class. But football, so much in today's day and age, relies on basically two factors, and they're not dissimilar. How good are you at quarterback position, and how much can you make the other quarterback look bad? And basically, a big part of that is your guy taking care of the football and forcing the other guy to get rid of the football. That's what so much of the game, collegiately and pro, has become. And LSU, when it comes to force and takeaways, is a really darn awful at it, especially when you look at the 2024 numbers. Now, the positive side is AJ Halsey is really, really darn good at forcing takeaways. If you look at his interception totals last year, he had 5 picks in his career, 3-year career. He's got 7. Overall in his career, he's forced 11 takeaways. He is a guy tailor-made to come into this LSU defense and flip that script by himself if need be, to go from a disaster of a turnover forcing team, a disaster of an interception forcing team, to a quality team in terms of forcing turnovers and getting picks. Halsey at Houston was a ball hawk. He was a playmaker since he first showed up on campus at 2022 and elevated his game every step of the way all the way through 2024. But here's the other thing I really like about him. He's not just a ball hawk, right? There's some guys that are just turnover machines, and look, they have a certain role to play. But Halsey also is a productive player in terms of getting to the ball carrier, getting him on the ground. The last 3 seasons, every single season, he had 74 tackles, at least 38 solo tackles, every single one of those 3 seasons. Again, productive player, can get guys on the ground. Look, is he a perfect tackler? No, absolutely not. But he's not just a hyper aggressive guy. He's not one of these crazy guys that gets 3-4 picks because he gambles every single throw, undercuts every single route. He ends the season with 3 picks, but gives up 5,000 yards receiving. That's not Halsey. He's a savvy player. He picks his spots, and he's exactly what LSU needs, a guy who knows how to make the big play. How many times did we see in those tough LSU losses last year where the game was close, it was hanging by a thread, and if they get a big turnover, if they get a big forced fumble, and they get off the field and give the ball back to Nussmeier, they win the game or take control of the game. But instead, they can't make that big play, right? They give up too much big plays to Alabama. They can't stop the zone read game against A&M, whatever it may be, right? They just don't have a guy who can make that big play to flip the momentum. Halsey is a guy who can come in and do that immediately. I think this is one of the final pieces LSU needs. Again, it's a make or break year for Kelly, right? Everyone understands big expectations. You got to deliver. I think Halsey's a guy who's going to come in day one and fix the biggest problem on this defense, and that's forcing turnovers.
Yeah, Nick, and I think you bring it up, forcing turnovers, big part of Halsey's game, big part of what LSU wants to do. So the fact they bring him in, gonna be a really great asset here. But this is a guy also played really great in general, 74 tackles, 7 pass breakups, just was good at getting stops. He had first team All Big 12 honors playing at Houston. So I just think overall decent football player. I think he's going to add a ton in the way of interceptions, a ton in the way of. And by the way, how crazy is it that the historically known traditional DBU was as terrible at takeaways as they were last year? I think they really need to. This is big for them reputation wise. Want to get these big DB recruits to start coming back to LSU? You can't be that low in the turnover department. So culture wise, fit wise, as far as the future of this team, if Halsey comes in here and starts balling out, it could be really big for them in more ways than one towards the future. So I'm glad they got this guy. I'm glad that they're bringing him in. I'm glad they hit the transfer portal as hard as they were, because this is a make or break year for LSU. I think really this is a make or break year for Coach Kelly. He's got all of the all of the players he needs. He's gotten all of these accolades, but he hasn't gotten the big one. Hasn't made a deep college football playoff run. That's what they're expecting from them. That's what LSU needs. This is a team that, when you think of great teams in the last, decade, 2 decades, LSU is one that constantly is popping up. We've known them to be a fierce competitor. The last few years underperforming, but I think this is the year they're finally putting together the team. They have all the pieces. They're ready to go. No more excuses. This is an LSU team ready to make the college football playoff again. I think this and all of the moves they've made through the transfer portal and through the recruiting class, great recruiting class as well. This is going to be a big year for the Tigers.